tricks for jewelry making. So these are tips that I've kind of come across over the years. Some have been shared by the community, some have been shared by other designers, some I stumbled upon myself, but I thought it'd be fun to do a show with all the different tips and tricks that I've learned. Now, a quick note about this show that's a little bit different than some other ones is I am pre-recording this one. So I will, you know how I love comments and I love talking with you guys and chatting as we design. This show is pre-recorded though, so I won't be able to read your comments, but I will go back and read them after the show airs and I can see them all. And I love my community, so I really do appreciate all those comments. Feel free to comment on here. We will have the Art Beads team monitoring it, so they'll be able to help answer your questions. But I thought a tips and tricks show would be a really fun one to do today. Now, as always, if you like something, heart it. If you have a comment, whether you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube or the artbeads.com/live website, definitely comment. We love to hear it. Now, also, if you want to share what you're working on, we do have hashtag Serious Art Beaters. And then we have the Serious Art Beaters Facebook group as well that you can join, which is a really fun group to share all the things that you love and are doing and working on with the beading community we have here. Now, you can also share this video by clicking the little arrow icon at the bottom. And as always, if you want to see what's in the show, go ahead and click on the shopping bag icon. That will show you everything in the show before I even talk about it. So if there's something you're like, wow, what is that? I want to learn more about it. That is where you're going to be able to do it, and you can add it right to your shopping cart from there as well. So that we love it that we're able to offer these resources in these video platforms. It's amazing. Technology is amazing, right, everyone? So I do appreciate you joining me today. I am going to go ahead and flip down my camera so that you can see what is on my table. I've got some tools, I've got some beads, and we're going to play a little bit as we go over these tips and tricks. Okay, let me flip down the camera, guys. All right, I've got all my goodies here, and some of these items you'll recognize. So of course, my wire looping pliers. So this is probably my #1 tip or trick, is to make your life easier when you're making loops. These wire looping pliers are amazing. So let me just show you real quick. I know most people have seen these already if you followed our videos, because I do love them, but I'll just take a scrap piece of wire and I'm gonna really quickly and easily make a loop, because this has one round nose and one concave nose. So I'm just gonna go ahead, grab it, bend it, like pinch it together. It bends it for me, so you can actually see what that just did right there, which is pretty cool. And then what we're gonna do is push it down, rotate it up, and then crisscross. Now we can either trim it right here and make a simple wire loop, or we can make a wrapped wire loop. So I'm just going to quickly make a wrapped wire loop, quickly and easily. There we go. And trim my tail. And then my other big tip is always tuck your tail. So when I say tuck your tail, I mean go around your wire, kind of pinching it like this. And what that's going to do is going to push that tail into your wrappings so that it's not sticking out and able to poke you later on, whether snag on your sweater or snag on your skin. So that's another big tip. Okay, so speaking of poking, and this was a tip that was shared by someone in our community, when you're working with memory wire, so of course memory wire is very stiff. It's like this wonderful wire that holds its shape. It's a fun project. Now for many, many years, what I did was I would first off use round nose pliers for it. Now I don't, I use chain nose. I find I get a better grip with chain nose. So there's another quick tip, is to turn your ends, use chain nose instead of round nose. But what I used to do is I would grab this wire and I would twist it inward. So I would just make a loop, but it would be an inside. So you can kind of see where I'm going here. Now, what is the issue with this, and someone pointed this out to me, is when you wear this, what's that loop doing? It's going against your skin. So they said, and I thought this was brilliant, they said, twist your loops outward. So you do the same thing, the same way to make your loop, but instead of going towards you, towards inward, you go outward. So you twist it going the other way. So it's still a nice loop that you can hang a charm from, but what's laying against your arm when you put your bracelet on is the flat side of the wire and not the loop. So that was a good tip that was shared with us. I thought was brilliant. Okay, what other tips do I have here? Okay, I know these are kind of coming fast, but that's kind of fun, right? Okay, so let's see. Oh, okay, so I have these coins. This is a great tip. I always keep a quarter and a dime on my beading table because I sometimes have a hard time, especially when I'm shopping for supplies, visualizing millimeters. It can be a little bit confusing. So a US quarter is very close to 25 millimeters. So if you are looking at something, maybe it's a bezel or a pendant, and say it's 22 millimeters, you can look at this quarter and then know that's just slightly smaller than it. Or maybe it's 30 millimeters. Okay, well then you can look at the quarter and know that it's a little bit bigger. So I use a quarter. Now the 18 millimeter dime is the same way. This is just shy of 18 millimeters, but it's close enough if you're just kind of using it as a size reference. Same thing, if you have a bezel setting or a pendant or a bead and you want to kind of get a quick idea of what 18 millimeters looks like, this is really handy. So I always keep these two coins somewhere near my work table. If you've seen my other videos, you know I never have rulers or anything like that. So I like having quick little guides. Okay. Another quick tip is twisted wire beading needles, or twisted, I guess it's twisted wires, twisted beading needles. Now this one's by Tulip. These come in handy because they have that big eye. So this is a 2-pack that I have, and I've already taken one out of here. So you'll notice they're flexible, which is great. You will also notice they've got this nice big eye. Now that's important because let's say you're making a stretch bracelet. We all love our stretch bracelets right now. They're super popular, they're easy to do, they're a good, jewelry project to do with friends or to make as a gift. Now, if you are gonna do them how I was taught, you take the end of the stretch cord and you slip a bead onto it and you kind of fish around a little bit and you find a bead and you slip it onto it. So definitely you can still do this, but I really like using a needle. So I just put my cord, and because it's got this really big eye, you can just put your stretch cord in there. And then you can just bead as normal if you were just, had a normal, beading thread or something. So you can put a bunch of beads onto that needle and you just pull them down and they slide right over that needle. And then when you're done, you take the cord out and you reuse your needle for another project. So say you're doing beaded kumihimo, which requires a lot of beads on every strand. So if you're doing beaded kumihimo, it would be the exact same thing. You would take your cord, and in this case, I have Eslon. You would take your Eslon and you would just do the same thing. You would put your beads on and you'd be counting because you need the same amount on each strand. So maybe you need 20 or 30. You just take them and you slide them down. And then they're on that cord. So that's a really handy thing that I think saves not just time, but frustration. I think it makes the whole process a lot easier to do, and just, it takes away that extra poking and trying to, slide on beads onto just some cord or fiber. So I love using twisted beading needles. So these are really fun. And this one is by Tulip brand. So you see that one there. You do get a 2-pack and it is reusable as well. So I have a couple more tips to share with you. And that's going to involve these beads here. So let me just lay these out and you'll see what we're going to do here. So what I want to do is I want to take one of these beautiful Raven's Journey beads and I'm going to cut it apart, because what I like about Raven's Journey is you get these nice strands, and you can imagine that this is going to be multiple pairs of earrings. It's going to be, in this case, a necklace. Maybe you can even do a bracelet with it. I mean, this would be beautiful just as a stretch bracelet. So I'm going to cut this open, and what I want to do is I want to have a very simple and elegant piece of jewelry here that just has a one single bead right in the center of it. So what I like to do is, instead of buying bulk chain, jump rings, and a clasp, I like to use a pre-made chain. I like to go ahead and line it up like this, where I take the clasp in one hand and I pull it all the way down. I find the center link and I cut it, cut right through that. Now I've got two equal sides. I have a clasp in the middle and I've got my chain already attached. And I know my clasp is very secure. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some more wire and I am going to make this a really simple necklace. We're just going to use these wire looping pliers again. So before we attach our bead or do our wrappings, we're going to open this up, slide on. Okay, now I see I've still got my cut piece of chain here, so I need to just make sure, excuse me, make sure I pull that out or cut that off. There we go. Now we have an actual link, which is ready to go. Put our wire through that link, slide it up, press it down. I'm just going to make a couple wrappings. Trim our tail, tuck our ends. Remember that tip from earlier. Now we're just going to slide on our pretty bead. This one nice single bead. Now on this side, we're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to open it up. Now we're going to grab the chain from the other side of the necklace, and it has a little chain bit on it too. So we're just going to make sure that we have what I like to call just a clean link. Oh, it fell off great as I was holding it. And we're just going to slide this on. Until it kind of latches down or links down, or I should say links, loops. Too many links and chains. And then we're just going to do some wrappings. But you want about the same on each side so it looks balanced. Okay, trim our tail. And tuck our end. And then you have a really simple, pretty necklace. You can use this with any bead. We have just so many beautiful Raven's Journeys beads over at Art Beads. So you can use it with any bead, but there you have a really quick and easy necklace. You know your clasp is secure and your chain lengths are equal and everything's good to go. And it just saved so much time and energy and having to buy everything separate. So to make this necklace, you only really needed 3 items. You needed your beads, your wire, and your finished chain necklace. So that's a nice little time saver as well. We're all about the time savers. I know I've got 2 kids, so I am all about what saves me a little bit of time and energy. So I like that one as well. A couple more quick tips to share. And these, well, 2 of them involve chain, and then one is just a simple one that I like to do a lot. So let's say you are making some jewelry and you have an eye pin, or a head pin I should say, but you need an eye pin. So easy to convert a head pin into an eye pin. You just take your cutters and you cut off the head as close as you can to it. So you snip it off, you kind of catch that so it doesn't fly across your room. And then you're going to take your tool and just, whether it's your round nose pliers or your wire looping, and you just make an eye. And this you can open and close the same as any other eye pin. You just open it up to slip something on and then close it on up to close it. So very easy to do, but it's handy because sometimes we just don't have exactly the right supplies that we need. So it's really nice to have that. Okay, 2 more quick tips, and these involve chain. So I do love my little method here where I use the pre-made chain necklace, But sometimes you want to use something that is more of like a bulk chain that you buy by the foot or you buy by the inch, depending on the type of chain. So I have a little Rolo chain right here. Now let's say I was going to make a pair of earrings and I needed them both pieces of chain for the earrings to be the same length. A really easy way to do that is you take your first piece. Let's say I wanted it to be 25 millimeters. So I might use my quarter as like a little guide. And then I could cut it. Now, what I like to do to measure off lengths of chain to make them even is I take a head pin and I put it through the last chain link. And again, if there's any scrappy chain on there, you just want to kind of pull that off. So the last intact chain link, and I slide it on. Now I take my chain, the bulk chain, and I slide it on next to it. And it's a little hard to tell at this angle, but basically you're holding this at eyesight and you're looking at the bottom length. I'll try to do it at an angle here so we can see it, but you would hold this up, you know, straight across, so you're just viewing it exactly at eye level, kind of like when you're measuring it when you're baking. You don't want to be looking down or up at it. You want to be looking at eye level to see that the measurements are correct, but we just could then cut. And then you've got 2 equal lengths of chain. So that's what I like to do to cut my lengths of chain. Now, let's say I've got all of this chain, and sometimes it can be quite long. Maybe I ordered 3 or 4 feet of this chain. So here's my final quick tip for this video. So I like to take a kidney ear wire, and you can do any size kidney, but what you can look at this. So this is how we use it, right? So we've got a nice kidney hook. Now, it doesn't have to be this, because this upside down can also be a very nice storage organizational clip or tool, whatever you want to call it, because just in its entity here, this is a loop that opens and closes. So we're going to use it as a storage tool. We're going to unlatch it, and now we're going to slide on a chain link, and then we're going to go down a little ways, and we're going to slide on another chain link. Let me just get one right here. There we go. So it made like a little loop, and it doesn't matter what the lengths are. So basically you're just going to keep going down the length of it. And this is actually a little bit of a thinner, not thinner, but the links are a little smaller for doing this. It works a little bit better with a thicker chain. I shouldn't say thicker. Sorry guys, I'm tripping over my words a little bit today. It works a little bit better with links that are a little bit bigger. It should work still. Well, this is the beauty of doing shows where you don't kind of have it all scripted, because I was just showing it as I go, guys. And this is pre-recorded, so if you're laughing along with me and you're commenting, I love it. Sorry, I can't respond. This is a pre-recorded show. Oh my gosh. Okay, so, well, hopefully you get the idea. I wish I had more chain here. Let me see if I have some scraps of chain near my table here. That might be a little bit better. Okay. All right, I have something to show you. Okay, so I think these are bigger. So we're gonna take this off. So let's pretend, let me see what I got. I've got so much just in my pile of goodness over here. Okay, let's see if this chain works. So we're gonna pretend that this is just a bulk chain. So, oh my gosh, those links are gonna be small too. All right, so we now know that we definitely need it to be longer or bigger chain length. Let me just grab this one. I have something here. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. Even on these shows that are pre-recorded, is kind of, we roll with the flow here. Okay, so you put your first chain link on, and then you go down a little ways, you add another chain link. Okay, this is so much better, guys. And then you add another chain link, and then you add another chain link, and you keep doing this until you've got all of your chain hanging on here, and then you close it up, and this becomes a little chain organizer, so it doesn't get tangled with other chains. And then what you can do is, I've hung these on like a hook, so I have a bunch of these kidneys upside down, these kidney hoops upside down, and then I just have all my different chains. So when I want to use this chain, I just unlatch it, and I pull off the amount I need to use, and then I just latch it back up. So it's a great organizational tool right there. All right, that, you guys, that is the beauty of doing these shows, like I said, where it's not quite scripted, but that was good because now we know that we definitely have to look at the size of the chain links to see if it will fit onto the kidney wire. But the size of the kidney wire doesn't matter. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. These are some of the ones that I definitely use most frequently when I am designing. I do love my big needles here, my twisted beading needles with these nice big eyes. And of course, I love my wire looping pliers. And if you want to learn more about any of the items you saw here, they're all in that shopping bag icon. They're in the shopping bag. So you can just click on it and see it. And it will show you everything here. And then you can learn more about all of them and add them right to your shopping cart from there. All right, I'm going to flip the camera up so I can say goodbye real quick. And then we will say goodbye for today. All right, thank you for joining me today. Again, this was a pre-recorded show, so if I didn't see your comment, but thank you for commenting. If you did, I really appreciate it. And definitely check out all our other designers coming up. We've got Becky Doll tomorrow. We have Sarah Lovecraft. We have Andrea Bieber, Deb Floros. Of course, I'll be doing videos. We have such a good time here at Art Beads, creating the content for these videos, planning projects, planning ideas. And we love to hear your ideas and feedback as well. So if you have an idea for a video, let us know. We would love to hear it. Or if there's a technique you've been wanting to learn, please share it with us, because we are always looking for ideas, and we really want to do things that, you know, people are wanting to learn about, and that they're interested about and curious about. So we love to hear that feedback. So ideas are always welcome. So have a great rest of your week. I will see you again soon. And please remember to check out all